Anderson is a true class act. Not only is he a member of the Grand Ole Opry and an accomplished performer, but he continues to write new material and collaborate with many new artists. Kelly Lynn had a chance to sit down with Whispering Bill to talk about his first hit and what he did before his first real job in the music business.
City Lights, that song, is there a story behind that, where it came from, the night you wrote it, or where you got the idea?
Yeah, there's a lot of stories behind that song. That was the one that kind of launched my career as a songwriter. I was 19 years old, believe it or not, working in a little town called Commerce, Georgia, where I was a disc jockey on the radio station, and I lived in the tallest building in Commerce. It was 3 stories high. And I went up on top of this skyscraper and was looking down at what few lights there were in Commerce and looking up at the stars, and somehow the bright array of city lights as far as I can see just came to me, and the song kind of went from there. But that was my key to Nashville. Fortunately, I was able to come here after Ray Price had such a big hit on that, and people would welcome me into their offices and say, "What else you got?" And fortunately, I've been here ever since.
Wow, what a story. So Commerce, Georgia, what have been the sort of jobs you've done? Because so you started out, did you start out in radio?
Oh, Lord, I started out mowing lawns. One time, I had the only flash camera. This is so hard to believe today with all the phones and stuff with cameras. I had the only flash camera in my neighborhood. I made money at Christmas time going around taking pictures of all the kids in the neighborhood.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
I worked in a grocery store. I had a paper route. I've done everything. One time I even started a neighborhood newspaper. I've always been industrious. I've always had things that I like to do, and I've just been able to go out and do most of them.
And it's worked for you for a long time. But what was your first music business job? So was it working at the radio?
Yeah, I'm working in radio. Although you say job, now that's when you get paid for. I did a lot of radio and TV around Atlanta, where I grew up, with a little band that I formed when I was in high school. But we never got paid for that, so it was work, but we never got paid for it. But my first paying job was working on the radio, and I credit that with helping me a lot in my music career, because I sat there and I opened the packages of records that they sent in those days. You know, they just MP3 them to you today, but I actually opened the packages and held the records in my hand and looked at who the songwriters were, looked at who the publishers were, and that helped to give me a real foundation, a real grasp of the music business at that level.
And then City Lights, you came to town, and that got you in the room with writers and publishers and the people you needed to connect with, and the rest was history.
It's been a fun ride.
What's a day in the life of Bill Anderson these days? Is it
Which day?
Is it writing every day? How often do you come in and write? We're here at Sony today, and
well, I never have been one that tried to see how many songs he could write. I feel like I stay fresher if I don't try to write too many. But I like to write a couple of days a week. And then, you know, I've kind of got 2 careers. I've kind of got the writing career, the performing career. I still tour some. I will tour a good bit this summer and on into the fall. And then, you know, I just have all kinds of various projects going on. And I try to spend time with my family. I've got 3 children and 8 grandchildren.
Wow, what a blessed man. That's awesome.
Right.
And that's fun. That's fun, spending time with all those kids.
Well, I took my oldest grandchild, my oldest granddaughter, this past weekend. I took her over to Dollywood. She's the only one in the whole bunch, my kids or grandkids, that's had any inclination towards maybe being in the music business and performing. She doesn't want to be a country singer. She wants to go straight to Broadway.
Oh, well, good for her. Good for her.
So she may stop in Dollywood on the way. I don't know if she's going to get hired over there or not, but it's fun. You spend time with them, and, you know, you hope good things happen for them.
Now it's time for our weekly songwriter tip. This week we sit down with Low Cash Cowboy Preston Brust as he talks about keeping an open mind when collaborating with other writers.
There's a lot of times you come into a co-write and you think you got this great idea. I know this happens to me, and I walk in, I can't wait to, you know, I got my coffee and I got my great idea and they're going to love it. And then someone else says an idea and I'm like, whoa, that is so much cooler than my idea. And I think you just have to keep an open mind and be ready to run with the best idea in the room, because there's a lot of times, man, my ideas just get squashed. And but, you know, if you got the right frame of mind and everybody's trying to write a hit song, You go after the best idea in the room, and it doesn't matter whose it is. Just go after it, chase it.
For more information on the craft of songwriting, check out NashvilleSongwriters.com. That's about all the time we have for this week's show, but don't forget those new discs we have up for grabs from Leanne Rhymes. If you want to enter this week's drawing, head on over to InsideMusicRow.com to get signed up. Make sure to find us on Facebook too. We're going to leave you today with the title track off that new album. Here is Leanne with Spitfire. Don't miss us next week when we hit up the world's largest pitch party. Until next time, I'm Bailey for Inside Music Row, and I'll see you again real soon.